Okay, ready to start? Well, good afternoon. Thank you everybody for your time and being here. We analyzed, well, it's me, Johnson, and Lorenzo, who analyzed over the past semester coherence in the media department. So there were two projects in this bundle, one for European Institute with double degrees and one on the media department, which was more loosely defined. So they didn't exactly say what kind of coherence they wanted to be investigated. So we had to come up with our own definition. Next slide, please. Well, it's us, so yeah, following one, I think. Fabulous. So because we were not given a specific definition of coherence, we decided to come up with our own and specifically break it down into three main essential points that could cornerstone coherence in an educational environment. So one is structural coherence. So do the modules in the programs, are they coherent within themselves? So do they create a clear consistent path? Educational path, expectational coherence. So were the students, like how can I say, the students' experience, was it consistent with what they found on the website when they scrolled and decided, okay, I'll apply to this program because it provides this? Was their experience consistent with that? And then goal-oriented coherence. So was their experience coherent with career goals? So I'm saying I apply to this program to end up working in this sector. Does this program actually give me all the tools and knowledge that I need to do so? Next slide, please. So what we did was, oh, no worries. What we did was to go to the students themselves. As you were saying in the speech before, it's really important to ask the students directly, and we found it to be the most effective way. So we created a survey, Microsoft Forms, relying mostly on Likert scales, so 1 to 5, agree, disagree, to a bundle of questions, were about 20, 25. And of course, leaving some few questions also for open feedback to capture the exact, let's say, problems the students would identify. Next slide, please. So the first part, again, we divided the bundle in expectational, program, and goal-oriented coherence. So every question has that label assigned. And we start with, to what extent did the program academic quality and structure reflect what you expected based on the application description? I have to say, reviewing the data, we put the data for all the questions. So reviewing the data, this is a fairly consistent pattern. So you will see that in most questions, there is a 50 to 60% that say we're satisfied, which is definitely a pass, but having been in student representation for a while and knowing what kind of statistics university aim for, let's say it's on the right track, but there's still a silent, well, how can I say, a noisy minority that still needs to see some change. So most questions will find this sort of outlook. Some others are more favorable, some are less favorable. So this is the trend overall. Next slide, please. And I mean, mostly now we'll see how accurately the description of the program structure and application actually reflect the academic journey. Again, 56 plus 9, so it's around 60% that is fairly in favor of the statement and thinking that information materials were fairly accurate. Again, forward, please. Did the program focus on goals aligned with what was communicated to you before you enrolled? Again, same pattern, and so on and so forth. So yeah, I think we can, let's see, 6 to 7. Again, here was a yes or no, so even more clearly marked. Were there any aspects that differed significantly from your initial expectations? No, 72%, so satisfactory, but there's still a noisy minority that preferred different, let's say, clearer or different materials, and that's what we captured then with the following questions. Next slide, please. Well, how effectively do the courses and modules in your program build on each other? Here, instead, the picture is much more favorable. So internal coherence, structural coherence was seen as mostly satisfactory, as we see very effectively, somewhat effectively go up to almost 80%. So we can see that that works fairly well. So the policies mostly rely on expectations, and the goal-oriented, I think, is the most critical. And yeah, next slide, please. Again, basically same thing. To what extent did concepts or skills from one course have succeeded in the other? We also tried to give similar but not same questions, also to make sure that the general opinion and thought on that issue was consistent. So to make sure that people were not misled by one specific question. Forward, please. Again, were there any courses that felt disconnecting from the overall goals? Again, fairly satisfactory answer. Silent minority, noisy minority is still there. Next, please. And okay, so this is the most important, I believe, because as I said, the open questions gave us the clearer picture of the issue. So few students found a direct contrast between their expectations and effective program structure. So as I was saying, there is a fairly noisy minority. The main issue we found were that the courses were considered both in general and compared to expectations as too theory heavy. That was one of the most important concepts. Developing few hard skills and ensuring the interaction of the communication field with others. A lot of people would have wished for more connection with political economics or politics. And I mean, some comments were also, I thought it was not worth it because of the diversity of LSE. It was deemed to be too Eurocentric, which of course is hard to work on because, I mean, the faculty, the research counts as a lot of, I can say, historical legacies, but that was one of the challenges. And specifically, one of the main issues, and I see it also in my experience, my own department, were the core courses. They were perceived to be too generic and sometimes unfit for MSc level studies, so appearing redundant for people who already took similar subjects in undergrad. And mostly, I guess it's because it's a small department, the core courses were similar across all the programs of the department, which of course didn't help with generality. So the priority areas which we find here are provide detailed syllabi to better inform students before they apply. I think this is a general thing across LSE. When you apply, you have all the pages, the web pages of the courses. They give you a general insight, the assessment method. I thought, in my own experience, and I believe from what comes out of this survey, it would have been really very much helpful to have access to the Moodle page in advance, because the Moodle page gives you the detailed breakdown of what will be done in each class, and that's much more insightful when it comes to understanding what a course will be about than the short paragraph that is provided. So I think that would be really helpful, especially because programs are 1 year long only. I think it's really important to provide everything as soon as possible, because when you're in a bachelor, it's 3 years long. If you don't find out something in the first year, well, maybe you find it out at the end of the first year, you have 2 more years to benefit from it. Here, if you find something out in December or June, it's gone. The year is just one, so I think it's important to provide all the information of all available resources as soon as possible. Make courses more practical and better connect the theory with some application fields. So again, communication in political economy, in politics, in international relations, perhaps. And we'll see also in the final recommendation with Yotsana, make courses more practical because they were too theory heavy, and also connected with the industry itself, but we'll come to that later. And very important, create program-specific core courses to avoid excessive generality, because that was really a big complaint that we saw in a lot of the short answer comments. And we know that people don't write them easily, so I think they're important to listen to them. I think for my part should be over. And yeah, I'll leave it over to you.
I'll take on from here. Moving forward, we tried to build a little more elaborate understanding of what we already know about whatever the students are perceiving from the current information that they have. So in this specific section, we tried to understand how well their program structure and regulation align with the stated objectives and the intended outcomes that the course they think going in is going to provide. And while the majority felt that the structure generally matched the program's academic goals, the feedback revealed some important gaps. Specifically, students noted that learning objectives were often stated in broad terms, but the curriculum didn't always offer tools and course pathways needed to achieve them, especially in relation to practical and interdisciplinary learning. Students also mentioned in the comment sections, and that's where we're learning our qualitative aspect of the study from, that although the structure fulfilled theoretical objectives, it lacked flexibility to accommodate their personal learning interests, and perhaps that's something they wished they could discuss with their professors more.
So to go back or
back.
Okay, sorry.
Sure. Well, yeah, I think we can, yeah, that's it. Now moving here, we have the academic and career aspirant part of the study professional goals.
Oh, wait, was it? Yes.
Oh, yeah.
And these two questions address the program structure, supported students' academic and career aspirations, where their course selections help them gain relevant skills, and the responses were mixed on this. On one hand, many students felt that the academic content was rich and intellectually stimulating, but approximately 20% of the students said that the program did not support the career goals effectively. And there's a lack of applied development skills, and especially in media tools and industry-specific techniques. And there's minimal integration of LSE careers resources as they are learning during the terms, and external professional networks is also something they would like to be effectively connected with as they are going through the terms. Yeah, I mean, generally theoretical knowledge is valued, but the students just struggle with how they would translate this in a, like, after their postgrad going forward. Next slide, please. Question basically spoke about enrollment. Once the enrollment is done, if there's flexibility for students to change and align more courses with their academic interests. And 16%, sorry, found it not easy, but for the most part, they as you can see, it did intend it to be easy, but there are 10% who reported that they're unable to personalize their academic journey through the programs. Student did describe the course selection as a little confusing and time consuming as well. Otherwise, like needing choices between what interested them and what could be allowed by the rules. I think we can go to the final comment section. Now, drawing upon the responses from these questions, we've observed two distinct groups. One is the critical, that is 10 to 15% of the students who took the survey who expressed dissatisfaction with their ability to meet their career and academic goal with the current structure. There are a large majority who would generally satisfy, but unexpressed moderate frustration on the course guideline or restrictive program rules. I think we can move on to the area of improvement. Yes. Now, here are where we speak about the gaps, expectation gaps that we would possibly want to build. And application material did not provide enough details about course content and structure. And the misalignment of expectations mostly stem from that specific area of problem. So perhaps strengthen the curricular connection. The core modules were also perceived to be too generic or repetitive. And there was weak linkages between the courses that they were taking. So a fraction of learning journey was unclear progressions for the students. As for the career relevance, lack of applied skill journey, skill building, and limited industry networking and integration was the major problem, and students struggle with connecting with academic work, with postdoctoral degrees when they have achieved. And of course, the administrative structure, as per the course regulations, was something that students had a hard time understanding, and what the impact of the courses that they will be studying was another issue within the administrative process. As for the recommendations, as we already mentioned earlier that an earlier access to the Moodle portal would be more feasible. However, in an ideal situation, we thought that a launch of a program Explorer portal where the recommendations could directly address the expected gaps. And there's detailed syllabi of all courses, including past years, sample assessments, learning outcomes, and skill acquisitions path, guidance on how each course contributes to broader program goals. It matters because, again, as we know, 31% of the students felt misled and underinformed while applying. Then we have the curriculum coherence audit. Since we face the comments of repetitive core courses again and again, the recommendations mostly is along the lines of auditing the current courses that the students are required to take, and or more better alignment of training processes, during dissertation timelines, identifying overlaps and redundancies between these modules. And this is one of the major recommendations because almost 44% of the students said that the courses only somewhat build upon each other or they were too repetitive. Then finally, there is the career integration and administrative reforms. So, co-designing modules with organizations that are working or issuing skill badges for competencies in areas of data storytelling, digital content creation, or analytics. Hosting applied workshops in collaboration with LSE workshops. And then finally, we have the streamlining of course enrollment to simplify, perhaps have like an AI-powered course recommendation, or before the course selections are made, some career guidance for students from other resources that can inform their course selection.
Thank you.